totally independent music festival. Do the right thing and buy your tickets in advance, for the love of God. Now, enjoy this podcast.
Hello, and welcome to the Shnug presents Éalú Le Grá. My name is Richard Loftus.
And I'm Lavin.
In this series, we will explore the music and arts festival Éalú Le Grá as it goes into its third year. Today, we are joined by Evan Sweeney, DJ, producer, and co-founder, also known as Burlie Mac. And we're also joined by ink illustrator and artist Lizzy Madden.
Hey.
Hello.
Welcome to the Shnug, guys.
Yeah,
How are
welcome.
you?
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us, guys.
No bother. How goes the prep?
The prep is going great, actually. Yeah, I think we're in good shape. We're 4 weeks out now, and yeah, everything's going to plan. To be honest, I think we learned a lot last year. So yeah, it's just a tickets thing, really.
Yeah,
just pushing the last of the tickets to get us to that level where we need to get to.
You're pretty close.
I would say we're close in theory.
Okay.
In reality, we've a bit of a ways to go yet, but
okay.
You know, there's great interest in it this year in terms of awareness of the event. Like last year, I think we put out an open call. This year, I think we had about 150 applications in.
Okay.
Versus last year, we did the same open call. We probably had about 30 or 40. So the word is definitely spreading.
Oh yeah, there you go.
And look, it's not a big capacity event. It's 500 people all in, including artists and performers, which will probably this year make up for, I'd say, 150 to 200 people easy. So it's not a massive ask, but still, I think that's just the trend in Ireland. People buy things last minute, especially festival tickets. Yeah. So, but yeah, we're way ahead of this year where we were last year, 4 weeks out, which is great.
Okay, that's great.
I know that myself, I'm dying to see Valerie June. She's playing up in Dublin with what's his name, Mick Flannery, I think.
Oh, cool.
But I haven't bought the tickets yet, and I'm completely obsessed with Valerie June. I've been listening to her for 2 years straight, and I still haven't bought the tickets yet. You know, It's just a very Irish thing. Last minute buy the tickets.
You're the reason why we're losing sleep at night.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's people like you.
Yep.
If we start at the start, it's usually a good place. You're from Barna originally, is that correct?
Yeah. Well, actually, before I was actually born in Boston.
Okay.
Out the road here, or
no, in the States, stateside.
Boston States.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my family were over there, pursuing the American dream. I was born, and then we relocated back to Galway.
Okay.
In 1994. So I've been in Burlie since then.
Okay.
I moved away for a while and came back, but yeah, that's where the home house is.
And then when did you start kind of pursuing your musical side of your career?
When did I get into music? I played the guitar probably from, what age was I? Maybe like for a couple of years up until secondary school, and then drinking became the cool thing then, and hanging out with the lads, and kind of dropped the guitar then for a couple of years, and I got into DJing.
They go hand in hand though, don't they?
They do, yeah. I don't know. I was doing it wrong anyway. The bish wasn't really the culture for. Well, I don't know. I just lost. I guess I just lost interest in it for a while. But yeah, I guess I was into music from a very young age, and then, and then I got back into DJing. Probably, I think that was actually the Even Star. I have memories of DJing. I was like a bedroom DJ. I got a controller and started doing it as a hobby. Never thinking it would kind of turn into something I'd pursue professionally. And I remember my first big quote. I'm doing the air quotes here for people who are just listening. The first big break. I was DJing, and one of my best friends at the time, his younger brother was having his 18th, like a barbecue. He was like, oh, they used to call me DJ McSweet at the time. Oh, DJ McSweet, will you come play my birthday or my barbecue? And I was like, fuck, or can I curse on this? Or no?
Of course you can.
Oh, sorry. I was like, oh shit, it was my first gig, whatever. And I went and I played, and then like all his friends were there. They're all turning 18 around that time. So I was like, oh, will you do my one? So I turned into this like 18th birthday DJ. And then that turned into playing at Debs and Grads for the same crowd. And then when I went to college in Dublin, I was playing a bit in Dublin. And yeah, just since then, really, I've just been kind of at it. I got into producing in college then.
Okay, great.
Music,
and was that were you pursuing that side of your abilities when you moved to the States? And I know you were in San Francisco for a while.
Yeah, I guess like when I went to San Francisco the first year between my third and fourth years of college. Did a J1. Well, I didn't actually have to get a visa because I have the US passport. Yeah. But I was still more of a kind of, I guess it was just a bit of crack and a hobby then. You know, I wasn't really, I would say, pursuing it. And then I got in with the Celtic Chaos crowd. I just sent them an email. They were doing a Burning Man fundraising event. It's like, oh, I'm a DJ from Galway. I'm here for the summer. Any chance of a DJ set? And they're like, yeah, come on down. And I went down. I met all the crew there, like Crow and Natasha. And I ended up playing. I was playing before Crow, who tragically passed away. I think Tommy might have mentioned that in the first episode.
I listened to their actual podcast that they did themselves.
Yeah,
they a big part of it that they were talking about
Crow.
Him, and he kind of was the founder of the Celtic Chaos.
Yeah. Oh, he was a huge figure in that camp. And in fairness to him, he gave me my break. Like I was DJing before him for like 2 hours, and he was meant to play after, and then he's just like, oh, you keep playing, man, you've got the place rocking. And from then I was just in with the crew, like, and they invited me to Burning Man. And yeah, like a funny story, my first burn, I just started a job in a bank, which was a crazy move. I'm not a banker at all. So I took this job in a bank, and then like I think I started maybe the Wednesday before Burning Man, and I get a call off, I say it was Dahi probably called. It's like, oh man, we've got a set for you at Burning Man. You're going to play the Wednesday night. It's after this wedding. It's like the main night that, you have to come. There's a ticket and everything.
After this wedding?
No, yeah. So there's a couple got married that year at Celtic Chaos. So it was like, you're going to be the wedding DJ at the Burning Man. Like, not obviously, it's not like a typical wedding DJ set. Burning Man, and like I'd never been.
Saw doctors and
no. So like, there's this huge excitement, and I was like, oh shit, I just after starting a new job like 2 days ago. So I went into my manager. I was like, look, I'm after being offered a set here at Burning Man. It's a dream of mine to play there. And in fairness to him, he was so sound. Like, he was like, go for it, man. Have a buzz. And then like obviously in the deep ply up there, partying with all my friends, I realized the grave decision I made for taking the bank job. I was like, oh my god, I have to go back into a fucking bank. So that was short-lived. I was there for about 6 or 7 months. I left then. But yeah, that's my first Burning Man experience.
Nice.
I went off on a bit of a tangent there. Sorry.
No, it's fine. We do a lot of tangents here.
yeah.
So then you were kind of, for people that don't know you, what kind of stuff do you play?
I play a bit of everything, to be honest. Mostly probably house, tech house. I don't play a whole lot of disco. I sometimes play a bit of techno, but it's mainly kind of housey, tech house stuff, and produce music. Then I play like, jazz, a bit of funk, soul, like whatever, really, a bit of everything. Yeah, it depends.
And is there a big scene then in San Fran then?
Yeah, big scene in San Francisco. Yeah, it's a thriving scene. It was when I was there. I'm sure it still is. Lots of, it's like there's world class DJs playing there every weekend. There's a huge market for it, so they have the crowd. So yeah, I was with a collective over there called Make It Funky. So I think how did that come about? I think I was playing a Celtic Chaos party, and then they were brought in to play as well, and then we just hit it off, and they're like, hey, do you want to join the collective? Then I was doing gigs with them around the city in Monarch and Underground SF and a few different venues. And that was the connection there with them. And
then you became we were taken under the wing of a producer, Osunlade. Is that the correct way to pronounce that?
Yeah, so think of it, and it's funny because everyone pronounced it a different way, and I was the same. So think of it like Ocean Latte, but it's Osunlade.
Oh.
Yeah. And I heard him explain it that way to someone on the ply at Burning Man. I was like, oh, that makes sense. It's easy to remember that way.
Well, if
but that was
what
actually,
he says.
That was very good, because I've heard some crazy attempts of saying it.
Like, how do you spell it?
Osunlade.
All right.
Yeah.
Osunlade.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
How did you say it?
Well, I think you pronounced it with a bit of a H in there. Osunlade.
Osunlade.
Yeah.
Sound.
And where's he from?
He's from St. Louis, Missouri. Yeah. So I met him. I actually wasn't living in San Francisco when I met him. I'd moved back to Ireland, so I was in San Francisco for 3.5 years, and then I came back to Ireland, and then I went back to Burning Man, and was it the last time I was there? No, it wasn't. It was the second time I went to Burning Man. I met Osunlade. So he's also a big part of the Celtic Chaos camp. So he'd play every year. He's a resident DJ there, and contributes massively to it. And I met him the second time I was at the Burn, and we just hit it off, had a great connection. And then after that, he was like, "Hey, I've got a gig in Morocco. Do you want to come?" I was like, "Obviously, yes." Not for me. No, I'm not interested in that. So then
Where in Morocco?
Marrakesh.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, that actually fell through in the end.
Did it? Okay.
But I guess the intention was set then, and then I toured around with him for about, I'd say, probably a year and a half, where he was mentoring me and, kind of giving me a taste of that lifestyle and what's involved. And, like, he's an iconic figure in the house music scene. Like, he's like so wise and knowledgeable and everything. It's just taught me so much about the music. Kind of took my head out of the technical side of it, of like, oh, you need to get this frequency right, and that I got a bit too caught up in the technical side of it. And he's like, no, music is about feeling. How do you feel when you make music? Because people consume music as it's a feeling. Like, how does a song make you feel? You don't really say, I love that song because I can hear that hi-hat and I can hear that. Most people don't consume it unless you're a producer. You kind of listen to tracks like that. So that was huge learning for me, and I think it really helped me to develop my sound, or just my relationship with my own productions. So yeah, toured around with him, which was like unbelievable crack. Like, and then all the while I was sending him music and he was giving me feedback, and he was what's the word I'm looking for? He was a tough teacher. Like, he'd say it as it is, which I'm grateful for now in hindsight. At times it was kind of frustrating, but and then I was on a trip to St. Louis, and we were in the studio one night having a few beers, having a bit of crack, and we started jamming, making some music, and then we ended up making this track. And he's like, "Oh, I like this. Let's make a couple more." So I think we made like 2 or 3 tracks then, and then he came to visit me in Ireland. So he was actually staying in Barna, and we made another 2 or 3 tracks. And then we actually put out an EP on his label, Yoruba Records, as Polarity. And that did really well. That sold out. And then we started touring off the back of that, and we played in Switzerland, San Fran, New York, Croatia, Paris, London, and then we were due to play in Watergate in Berlin, but it was like the week before or the week after lockdown. Like, everything went lockdown then. So that was kind of the story with Osunlade. And obviously we're such close mates since, and we're over and back, and he's coming to play this year, which is super special for all of us. But yeah, we'll get back to making tunes together as well.
Yeah, so he's gonna headline this year.
He's gonna headline the Saturday night. Yeah. We have him on Saturday. We've Axel Bowman then on Sunday, and we've Ewan as well, who's going to play before Osunlade on the Saturday, and then we potentially have a really special guest lined up for the Friday night. Shout out to Rob Monroe and Bally for potentially hooking something up there. But I can't say anything yet. It's early days, but it could be a really, really prominent Irish name to join the bill. And then we've got obviously like a huge lineup of local talent, Irish talent. So like the lineup.
Richie Kavanagh.
Say again.
You got Richie Kavanagh?
No, we don't.
Okay,
no.
All right.
That was just the special guest that they're having on the Friday.
You just spoiled it. You just spoiled it.
See, cat is out of the bag.
Cat's out of the bag. Yeah. So no, we're really
sorry.
No, it's all good. Next year. But no, we're really proud of the lineup. I think we're showcasing a lot of local talent and collectives from Galway, and we've done our best to give everyone a platform, really. Like, and then the vast majority of the lineup is Irish based, and then we've brought in, maybe selfishly, a couple of our favorite international artists, and we're like, feck it, like, why not?
So you're a co-founder. So what's your role vis-a-vis the festival itself? Are you looking for artists? Are you one of the ones trying to?
I guess my role is like I take care of more of the business side of it. So like the marketing, the creative kind of branding of the event, like the website ticketing, the social media plan, like dealing with the guards and the insurance documents, all that side of it, and then kind of overall project management. But like, the fest, like, we're all wearing many hats. Like as it evolves, there's more defined roles developing. So we're kind of fitting into that. And we're seeing what works, but we're all doing different bits. Like, I don't think I exclusively do anything, or any other lads exclusively do anything. We're all collaborating together. But as it does evolve, I seem to be kind of leaning more towards that side. Like Tommy's more on the building side of it. But yeah, so yeah, that's kind of the way it's worked out.
And did you meet Tommy first at Burning Man? I know a lot of people have come out of that experience.
No, when did I first meet Tommy? I would have been, let me think now, way back when. would have met Kelly first, or Dahi first, in college. We had a shared interest in partying, so we that's where we
it's the clean version.
Yeah. We'd have shared interest in socializing, but that's I think I became great friends with Dahi first, and then because we were both in college in Dublin. And we had a group back then. I can't remember what was the name of our group. We had some group that we all used to go to gigs together.
Okay.
And then Tommy was a regular feature then as well. But I can't remember. Like, I think it was like, we're all from Galway. We'd all see each other the same nights out and that.
It's a small town.
It's exactly. It's a small town. So yeah. And then it was college, and then after college, living in San Francisco, Dahi was there as well. Dahi's one of the main guys at Celtic Chaos. So there's just the three of us have been all kind of mingling in the scene for a long time, and it's just kind of developed to this point now where we're doing the event.
Lizzy, we're just going to switch to you for a sec. You got involved, you were a punter for the first Éalú Le Grá, is that correct?
Yeah, I was. So I met Evan about 2 months beforehand, and we kind of clicked it off straight away, and he said he had a festival coming up, and we're kind of straight out of lockdown really at the time, so it's absolutely like buzzing to go to a festival, a small Irish one. And it was beautiful. It was in Roscommon, was it?
Roscommon,
and it was lovely. So I went up, and I hadn't really known many people there at all. I knew Evan a few weeks, and it was just such a lovely experience. Such a lovely, like, special festival, and just great people, and good music, good artwork, and good vibes. And I met Tommy then. I met all the lads, and it's been brilliant since.
And then you're more hands-on then in CAA season 2.
Because I do artwork, and then I think you maybe had asked me afterwards, would you like to do some artwork for the next year? So I was like, absolutely, love to get like more involved in it. And then last year I ended up doing some of the kind of digital artwork that we use for like the Instagram, the social media, and for like the poster and that kind of stuff. And I actually ended up going to the workshop with the lads as well in the summertime and helping do a little bit of the crew stuff. Like, it was my first time kind of doing that. So
you did a lot.
I kind of like learning with the lads, and us going to the workshop and like watching and everything like that. But it's just a great environment and a great buzz, to be honest. Like, everyone's just here having a laugh, and like Evan said, like everyone wears like many hats, so you're just kind of helping out, and it's really, really nice.
And where did you start off? Like, was there art in your family?
There actually wasn't. I think like neither of my parents would be creatives, but like I think I have uncles who would be like good drawers and good sketchers and that kind of thing. But now, in fairness to my parents, like I think they really did see it when I was growing up, and they helped like nurture it, and they really did encourage it, which is lovely. And I went to the Limerick School of Art and Design then, and I did printmaking for 4 years there. So it's always been with me. And I took a little break then. I went to Boston actually myself after college for a few years, and I was working there. I didn't do any art then, so came home at the start of the lockdown, and it's like actually really lucky timing to meet Evan and the lads, and kind of realised I wanted to be getting into more involved with like the music scene and the festivals and all of that. Yeah.
And how would you kind of describe your art? This is an audio.
It's hard, isn't it? So my own art would be kind of, they're illustrations, ink illustrations, but they do definitely kind of resemble, there's definitely some like woodcut printmaking kind of characteristics towards it. So a lot of people look at my drawings like, oh, that's like a woodcut or line of cut, and I'm like, no, it's just how I actually draw it. So ink illustrations, and I suppose with like the Éalú lads as well, like for the digital content, we'd have a good few chats, and we're kind of seeing what we can change and colours, and it's been actually a good experience for me, and just to work with like what else can we do, and been talking about, I suppose Tomas I think did a bit of he edited some of the drawings, didn't he?
Yeah, so Lizzy did the balls, the kind of I guess they're balls. Sorry,
glowing orbs.
Spheres?
The orbs.
The orbs.
The orbs, that's a better word.
And then so we used them as a collage for the poster, and then I was like, oh, it'd be cool if we could make these moves. So then Tomas, that was on the podcast with Tommy, he's a wizard with that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's okay. That's
So Tomas, then I was like, can you make these balls move, or these spheres move? And I add some neon light to me, and he's like, yeah, no worries, I'll do it. And then he sent back, and I was like, oh my god, this is class. That kind of just eventually became the poster artwork. But it changes every year. Like, I guess the first year, one of our good friends, Sinead, she drew up the original poster, and then the next year, then for year 2, we took the centerpiece of that artwork, which is the kind of the two people back to back, and we cut that out, and then asked Lizzy, hey, like, we want to do something with this, but freshen it for this year coming. And then Lizzy did the mushrooms and the sign. Was it mushroom sign and the big heart?
Oh yeah, I did like kind of a heart made out of like plants and kind of like alien kind of type of plants, really kind of psychedelic-y, twisty, and different colors, and like, so then we just took all that artwork and then kind of created a collage, and that funneled into all the social media artwork then. And then this year it evolved to the spheres, and then Freya's art piece as well, which is the kind of woman with the stuff shooting out from the back. So it's a real mixed match, but there is something there. There's some consistency to it. But like we do like to involve people who are, you know, in the community, who've come to the event, who have some sort of connection to the festival, because they you know, that inspires some piece of art that's like unique to us, as opposed to like, you know, going online and just finding a graphic designer and saying, here, you need to make it look cool and bougie, or, you know what I mean? It's not special to us then. Like, so I think that's our plan going forward, is to always involve some artist or someone in the community to contribute to the artwork each year.
A lot of the stuff that you have on your social media and stuff, it's kind of inspired by Irish mythology and stuff like that.
It is. I have a huge graph Ireland, and just the animals here and native and the creatures, and I think actually from like living abroad to coming back home, I really do appreciate that more. So that's really coming forth, I think, in the artwork, which is really nice.
Yeah, you're never
like a lot of Celtic knotwork.
Yeah, a lot of Celtic knotwork, which is funny. I was living in Connemara there for like the last year. I moved there.
Whereabouts?
In Invern.
Okay, great.
So yeah, I was living there. It was a beautiful place, really, really nice. But yeah, I was like straight into the like Gaeltacht there, and so I really came home from Boston straight into like Ireland, which is lovely. But
can you speak Irish?
I would not be fluent. Cúpla focal, yeah. But I do love it, and I try to like kind of title anything As Gaeilge, which is great.
Yeah, it's nice to get the few words in, like, to be honest with you. I'm doing Duolingo there for the last year, and
fair play, yeah.
I'm still shite, like, you know, I'd be embarrassed to try and have a conversation with someone.
It's funny what you kind of learn off Duolingo. It's like the monkey is wearing the red one.
Where are the yellow skirts? But it's nice to embrace it a bit.
Yeah, definitely.
You can.
So yeah, I'm really kind of diving into the whole Celtic stuff now, and teaching myself how to do the knotwork, and there's like a lot of patience with it, and like the way I actually, I suppose, approach my artwork is, I feel like I'm like in the Stone Age in a way. Like I kind of draw like very traditional. So I draw everything by hand and then scan it in, and I could probably be saving a lot of time by doing it digital, but I think it's the printmaker in me that likes to do it the old-fashioned way, and well,
you're better off just go what you know, and then
exactly.
You know, you can build your skills as you go on.
Yeah.
Like, you'd probably know better than that than me now, to be honest with you. You are the artist.
Oh yeah, well, I've never used digital.
That's it. I'm like, you know, I don't know why. I'm like, feel like I'm like allergic to it. You know, I know there's so much ways I could make it easier and quicker, but
it's a wonderful tool, and for those who can use it, it's fantastic, and I'm glad that it exists. But for me, I much prefer traditional media. You know, same as yourself. You know,
fine artists,
Purists.
Yeah, purists. Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't call myself a purist. It's just that I don't have the skills for Photoshop. That's a whole other learning thing. You have to kind of. I guess you could teach yourself, but there's a real learning curve when it comes to screens for myself anyway.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's wonderful that people have that avenue to work with, you know, but just I just know how to use my hand and have a fucking paint, like a paintbrush on the end of it. That's all I do.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, that's true. And that's the nice thing actually about helping out in the workshop as well. Like all the lads, you know, they're great at like the woodwork, Emmett and Tommy and all that. So picking up some like hands-on skills is brilliant actually. Yeah, it's really cool.
And how did you end up with your work being projected then?
Oh yeah,
it was up in Dublin, wasn't it?
It is. So it's actually up in Grogan's at the moment, and on Capel Street. There's 2 projections. So someone just actually reached out to me on Instagram, and he works for Dodica, and they are doing it. And he said, would I be interested in it? And Yeah, his name is Mark, and we actually ended up being kind of friends. Like, we're friends of friends and similar groups. So yeah, it's getting projected now, which is brilliant. And I then entered one of my pieces in for the St. Bridget's Day campaign, and that got selected as well this year. So that was brilliant.
Okay, that's
wonderful.
great.
Yeah, so I got projected onto a couple of buildings in Kildare. So yeah, it was really cool.
I asked Lizzy, would she try get our logo projected onto the
She
side?
did actually.
So I don't think that's appropriate.
He's always actually asking me, can I get stuff? Chancing it.
Sure, you might as well. Like,
But
you
throw
know,
it up there.
But
Look good.
actually, you know what? The spheres we did for Éalú, they are being projected onto Capel Street.
Oh, class.
Just without the Éalú look. So we're halfway there.
if people ask, you can tell them.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So going forward for this year, then, like, did you have a particular team when you were doing the art for it? What was it that you had in your particular head
Yeah, I
when
think
you
we
were?
had a call about it, and we were
Yeah, it was. What was the theme? I think
kind of
the
cosmic.
art. We were thinking like last year was very kind of earthy and a bit like the
It
mushrooms.
was, yeah.
And then this year when we had
Botanical.
Freya's piece, and then we put it into a collage with the kind of exploding star behind it. And they were like, "Oh, there's something there. It's a bit more cosmic-y and bright and like yellow." And then that kind of just fed into a very loose brief. Like what Lizzy came back with, those spheres were unreal. I was like, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
nailed it!" I didn't even. It was. They were great. Like,
But that's the nice thing of the, like, not having a very like tight brief as well, because it kind of allows you to be creative as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we kind of went with like cosmic. The colors were like kind of warm oranges, yellows,
yeah.
which is nice. And that
Yeah.
kind of, I think,
From cottagecore to like cyberpunk or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think like those colors I do represent Éalú, because it's a happy festival as well.
Yeah. I think
Happy,
so too.
warm, and good vibes. So yeah, it was,
Yeah, it kind of probably works well as well, since you're kind of moved to a summertime kind of date
Exactly.
as
Yeah,
well.
that was another
so-
part of it too, changing up to
Yeah.
kind of a more bright sun summer feeling to it. So yeah, like we have a couple of different color versions of the spheres as well.
yeah, we do.
But the ones that we used for the poster and the artwork, that's I think that's the best fit. But we've got like a green one that we're going to use for the sustainability posts and stuff like that.
So will your artwork, will that be actually physically visible on site? Will you have anything,
Great idea. It will be now.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think, to be honest, if Tomas is doing projections, we could definitely get something
Yeah.
up as well.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, there's definitely potential to get stuff projected, and I'll definitely come down to the workshop, I think, like the week or two beforehand, and just help.
tell them what they're doing wrong?
I don't know,
Exactly.
I'll just help
Yeah.
paint a lot. That's why I actually was doing a bit last year. I was painting bits and bobs, so the lads would be building these big stage pieces, and I'd be spraying them and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's really nice to do like the bigger work, because I'm usually drawing with tiny pencils. So,
Yeah.
It challenges me too.
Like, as you say, challenges there for yourself, Evan. What's the challenges that you've ran in? I'm sure there are many. How long do you have?
Are we keeping this to an hour? Or? Challenges. Challenges. There's like, I think it's just challenge. Like to be honest, the biggest challenge really is just getting people to buy the tickets ahead of time to kind of give you that security. Because at the end of the day, you're taking on a huge risk running a festival, especially if it's independent. We've no sponsors, so at the end of the day, the book falls with a very, very small crew of us. So that's really the thing that is the most challenging. Like, I feel everything else, based on our experience last year and the event that we pulled off, like, I feel like we're confident as a group that we can deliver a great show. Like, we've a great team there. We've got amazing help, and there's really good energy from the community going there. So in terms of like challenges, that feels like the only kind of sizable one. Everything else, it's a lot of work, like, but there's a lot of people involved to make it happen. But I wouldn't say there's anything that's like a massive like hindrance to any of us. It just takes a lot of time, like, so, but I don't think personally, I wouldn't say there's anything that's jumping out right now that's like, oh, that's really challenging.
So in terms of trying to essentially get bums on seats or whatever, so I know you did that kind of taste of Éalú in the 126 gallery.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah.
So that was kind of the idea, just to
give people who like, so I think so last year, like, so from the first year, it was essentially like a private party. There was 140 people there, and we sold out that year. So I think that gave us a sense of like, oh, we sold out. This, you know, we're going to do 500 next year if all those people come back and bring 2 friends. And everybody was raving about it. It was a great event. We're like, this should be no bother at all. And then I guess what we were met with last year was, because it was the first summer outside of COVID, there was so much on that by the time the end of the summer came around and we were pushing tickets, it was like, you know, people were burnt out, broke, and just like not around, weddings, and it was just a really busy summer. So that was really challenging. So this year we've moved it again back to the start of the summer, and with the hope of that will stimulate some more tickets. And we definitely have a way bigger reach this year. A lot more people know about it. Like we've had some big publications like 44 magazine, Niler 9, and This Is Galway. They all posted about it organically.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, so they're all giving us coverage, and they're happy to support us because we're an independent festival. So, you know, like I think like we've gotten, I think like 35,000 people watched our lineup reel when we put that out.
Okay, great.
And you know, our website over the last 90 days has had like, I don't know, like a couple of thousand visitors. So like there's people looking at it, but it's like, what does it take for them to actually have the confidence to pull the trigger? But I think, you know, I think we've done the best we can so far with the tools that we have. We've put out an after movie, which Tomas and his crew, his brother James and Daniel, they put together. It's class, like captures the magic of the event. We've had some friends of ours who are photographers come down and take amazing photos. Like I feel like we've presented ourselves to the public as best we can, and now it's kind of just like up to the universe. Like will it come good when it needs to? And I believe it will. I think there's a great buzz around it. Like we are doing well with tickets, but we need to get the extra push now to make it the proof of concept, really. Like
it's just it's all a learning curve anyway, isn't it?
It's a huge learning curve. Curve just keeps, I feel like we're going around in circles now. It's like this curve that just keeps going. But
a sphere,
some might say. There you go. There you go. That's the connection of the artwork this year. It's this never-ending learning curve. You picked that up well.
Picking up balls is fine.
It's a big learning curve. But I think the learning curve was steeper last year because we went from a private kind of event to, okay, everything's legit now. We got to get insurance. We got to talk to the county council, the guards. We got to do, you know, like talk to neighbours. There was just so much more going, you know, legit, let's say. It was a whole other event. Whereas now that we've all that learning behind us, that this year it was kind of cookie cutter to a degree, but it was a lot more emphasis on how can we beef up the experience and the production and the lineup, and you know, how can we kind of continue that positive momentum forward. Loads of learnings, and I'm sure there'll be plenty more in the next 4 or 5 weeks.
Well, it's all growing pains, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it's great that you can build year on year, like you
Definitely.
know that what you've done for last year goes to this year, and the next year the same. Like, and then in terms of lineup, pronounce his name again.
Osunlade.
I think I got it there.
You got it there. Well, fair play.
So obviously he's doing you a favour helping out the festival grow and stuff like that coming on. And then how about the other mainliners?
So it's funny actually. Like, so my younger brother Timmy, we asked him to come on board this year, and he basically led the social media last year. And I said, like, do you want to have a go at booking DJs and taking on that role? And then he was like, oh yeah, I'll do it, whatever. And he loads of enthusiasm. And then he started getting onto like all sorts of artists that we wouldn't have ourselves got onto, because like they're going to be way out of our budget. You know, that's like we won't be able to afford people like that. And like in fairness, he hit up a load of big names that we all love. But then like Axel Bowman's one of our favorite artists collectively as a group. Like, he's one of my favorite artists since I got into house music. I absolutely love his music.
Who's that again?
Axel Bowman.
Bowman.
Yeah, so he's playing on the Sunday. He's
okay, great.
Is he based in Australia?
No, Sweden. He's the label Studio Barnhouse.
So I think it was a long way to come from Australia, but
yeah,
Sweden's a bit more doable.
Osunlade's actually flying from Detroit for the gig.
Wow.
It's coming in on the Thursday and staying until the Tuesday. But yeah, so anyway, Timmy fired off an email to Axel Bowman and then came back, and we were like, that's not like that's doable. And we were all like, it was one of those moments we were all like jumping around, like screaming, like, oh my god, you know, like such excitement. Like, and they're the kind of moments that are special when you organize these things, because a lot of the time it's like, this is so much work and it can be stressful. But then there's other times where it's like, that's a dream come true for us to bring an artist like that to Galway, and to bring Osunlade. It's like it's great to kind of take stock and step back and like look at the poster and be like, this is happening in Galway. This is great, like for the scene here. So yeah, it was Timmy. Timmy was responsible for that. That was his big delivery this year. So shout out to Timmy. Good
Fair
man.
play, Timmy.
Yeah, and actually he's doing well, I suppose by the time this podcast is aired, it'll be elapsed. But he's doing a night in the Roisin Dove on Monday. So they started a collective called Funk House after Éalú Le Grá, and they're flying it. They're like selling out the Roisin, selling out the cellar. I think this is going to be their 5th gig now.
So there's a lot of our organic growth that comes out of Éalú Le Grá, because you have the All Lads and whoever else. Like, so it seems like year on year that there's something else popping up out of it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's a lot came out of it last year, and there's even things that you know we don't really hear about till after the fact. Just like small stories of people that met and collaborated in some way. And again, it's hearing those kind of stories is a big part of why we do it. It keeps us motivated. Kind of reminds us like, oh, this is a good positive thing.
And then for your own stuff. Actually, I forgot to ask you, where does the Burlie Mac come from?
The name?
Yeah.
Oh, it was just when I was in secondary school, some of my friends used to call me Burlie Arms McSweet. That was a nickname, Burlie Arms McSweet.
And you didn't go with that?
No, I didn't go. Like when I first got into DJing as a hobby and a bit of crack with my, like, just doing it from the bedroom, they always call me DJ McSweet. And I was like, oh, I'm not, you know. And the reason I came up with a DJ name was when I went to America and I was getting gigs and I was putting on posters as my name. It was like all these like, you know, DJ names on a poster. It was like Evan McSweeney. I was like, oh, I need to come up with something a little cooler than that. So myself and one of my best mates, Ronan Larkin, and another friend of mine from California, we were drinking whiskey and smoking joints one night, and we were like, oh, we need to come up with some name. We need to come up with a name. Like, and I was like, I'm not going to be McSweet. So then we're like, okay, what about they were like, what nicknames do you have when you're younger? And I was like, oh, Burlie Arms McSweet. And like, oh, like, what about Burlie 91? That was the year you were born, Burlie 91. And I was like, oh, I don't know what that. And then I told someone like,
it's like that's already your password to all.
Yeah, exactly. That's my password to all my bank accounts. And then we were out like. Yeah, and then anyway, that just evolved to someone like Burlie Mac, and then it just kind of stuck. It was a bit of crack, like, and it just stuck. You know, there's no like metaphorical meaning behind it. Yeah.
And then
there's no metaphorical meaning to Burlie Mac.
No, not
there
really.
you go.
And then your the show that you do on Dublin District Radio.
Yeah.
In the Room, correct?
Yeah.
So what was the idea?
The idea behind that was something I was procrastinating on for years. Like one of my mates, Breen McNamara, he founded Dublin Digital Radio. Jeez, I don't know how long ago now. I don't know how long ago, but years ago. And I was like, oh, I'd love to do a radio show. And I kept saying to him, he's like, yeah, man, just like do one. You know what I mean? And I just kept procrastinating on it. And then towards after Éalú Le Grá last year, coming up towards Christmas, I was like, oh, I want to put more energy into my music next year. And I was like, I'm going to apply for a radio show, because that'll be something to keep me accountable, and it'll be a way of putting myself out there too, and overcoming some fear of doing a radio show. And so I just submitted an application, and I actually forgot about it. And then I think 6 weeks later, I got an email. It's like, oh, you got the show. How's Monday sound? I was like, oh shit, okay, let's do it. It's real. Yeah. So that was really the start of it then, and I've done 4 of them now. And the last one, myself and my brother Timmy, we did a back-to-back DJ set for it. So it was really fun.
Nice.
Great.
Yeah.
And it kind of gets the word out about Éalú as well, I suppose. You can promote it as much as you can.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think it's actually due next Monday again. So I'm going to do just exclusively music from artists who are performing at Éalú Le Grá. I won't be able to fit everyone in, because it's like we've got like 70 or 80 artists, but I'll get as many as I can.
Try your best.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Speed it up, maybe.
Nice
tempo.
And Lizzy, I know you're Limerick based, or you were Limerick based, but you're after moving up to Dublin now.
I'm from Limerick, but I just moved to Dublin there about 3 weeks ago. So fresh there, but you come back to Galway now for a little bit of work.
Yeah. So any plans? What would you like to do going forward with the art?
That's a good question. I'm still figuring that out, but I think more festival work and just more illustrations and freelance work. I'd actually love to do a book illustration. That's
Yeah.
always been like a dream of mine to illustrate some type of book. So manifesting that, and yeah, hopefully that'll come forth.
What you call it? Éalú Le Grá is probably a great. It'll open doors for you, I'm sure, when people see
Definitely.
your art and the way it'll get shared so much and stuff like
That's
that.
it. And to be honest, it's such a nice festival in that it's not huge either. In that, like, you actually make friends there. You meet people. You have conversations with people. And like the last 2 years, I've walked away from it, like getting to know new people, new connections. Like you have Instagram followers and all that, and it's brilliant. So
Yeah.
it's really good to just like connect and make friends, which is a brilliant thing to do at this age. You know,
Yeah.
it's great. Yeah.
What you call it? I imagine it's quite a challenge though as well, because the market is kind of saturated at certain points with festivals and stuff like that. But what you're doing seems to be, quite unique.
Yeah, I think, like, I don't know if there's many other festivals around that are so community focused and are so small and still have, a good sizable lineup. And I think, I really, we're proud of our level of production, like the attention to detail we put into stage design, into like a big part for us is like, I think it's great going to a gig and there's amazing music on, but if you can transform a space so you walk into somewhere and you're like, Jesus, where am I? Is this, am I in a field in Roscommon or am I in Marrakesh in Morocco? Do you know what I mean? It's like we want to create an experience for people so they get lost in it, not just listening to great music, but having the experience of a totally different environment. So I'm not saying like obviously other festivals do that as well, but I think the combination of our size and then the community involvement, and just the grassroots nature of it, and then bringing in some like amazing artists from around the country and abroad gives it something special.
Yeah. So for the most important question, where can they get those tickets?
You can get tickets on éalulegrá.ie, and that'll link you to our ticket page. And yeah, have at it.
Lizzy, where can we find your stuff?
On Instagram at the moment, so Lizzy Madden artist, and yeah, I'm in the midst of making a website.
Okay.
So for selling prints and all of that.
Very good,
Yeah.
very good. And yourself, Burlie Mac, is out there.
Yeah, I've got an Instagram page. I don't have a website yet. I might do that too. And I also have stuff on Spotify. The usuals: Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, and SoundCloud. And yeah, planning on releasing loads more music after Éalú Le Grá.
Good, very good.
That's the plan. Yeah, get back into it.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add over there? No.
The what now?
Do you have anything to add over there?
Me?
Yeah.
Nope.
Right.
Not at all.
So thanks so much for joining us, lads.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for
Look
having
out
us.
for Éalú Le Grá on Instagram and online, and the Shnug podcast with a H.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks
It's a
a
pleasure.
million.
Thank you very much
Pleasure.
for coming in here.
Yeah, thank you.
Slán go fá.